What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Us vs. Them YouTube channel. I'm your host, Vince, and we're going to break down 3 more fights for the upcoming fight night this weekend. The first fight we're going to break down is Elijah Smith versus Toshiomi Kazama. Smith is coming in at a minus 650 favorite, the biggest betting favorite on the card, and Kazama is at a plus 420 underdog. I think the betting odds reflect how this fight's probably going to go. Smith is a big favorite for a reason, and I think it's because Kazama is way outmatched here. Smith is a very patient and poised striker. He likes to wait for punches that come in. He doesn't force the action unless he smells blood in the water. If he knows that his opponent is damaged, then he'll swarm him. So he fights very intelligently. Kazama likes to come in and bring the fight right to his opponent right away. We've seen that in past fights. We saw that against Rinya Nakamura, where he got knocked out early. He came in and pushed the pace early. Nakamura caught him with some heavy punches early, knocked him down, and got a quick knockout. He did the same thing against Garrett Armfield, where he came in and wanted to strike quick and strike hard and early, and Armfield just put on a clinic against him and ended up getting a late first-round finish. He likes to come in aggressive. He came in a completely different approach in his last fight against Charalampos Grigorlu, however you say his name. But instead of coming in and looking for big strikes, he came in and looking to grapple. So it shows that he's willing to make some adjustments. With that being said, I'm concerned about Kazama's durability in this fight. In all the fights that I got to watch from Kazama, he gets dropped. Even in the fight against Grigorlu, where he actually got the second round sub, he got dropped in the first round and was hurt badly. And Grigorlu could have stopped the fight if he would have kept landing a little more punches on top. But he was able to survive and get the win there. But Kazama does get dropped, and that is concerning when he's getting ready to fight a solid power puncher like Smith. Smith is very explosive and has those quick twitch muscles that really let that jab off when people get in his range. He likes to pump that jab out in a nice 1-2, and like I said, he's very poisonous striking, very poisonous fighting. Against his fight against Tao, or however you say his name, on the Contender Series, Tao came in looking, really intimidating with the face tattoos, smiling at him a lot, staying in there when Smith was landing, and Smith's facial expressions didn't change at all. So it shows how mature he is as a fighter, and I really like that maturity going into a fight against Kazama. Smith has had some issues with his cardio, or concerns with his cardio in the past. We saw that in the Contender Series fight. He got gassed out in the third and dropped that round. Good thing he was already up 2-0 going into that round, so he was able to still get the victory. But it also showed that he improves this a little bit during his Vince Morales fight. He ended up getting a 29-28 decision. He won the first round, dropped the second, and came out and did what he had to do in the third round to get a victory. So it shows that he's making adjustments in between fights, and that's very good to see. It shows, like I said, his maturity and his growth as a fighter. Smith has really explosive takedowns that he's utilized in past fights. I don't really see him utilizing that too much this fight because Kazama is dangerous on his back. He can throw up submissions from his back. So I think Smith will try to keep this a standing fight. For my official prediction, I see Kazama coming in and trying to take the fight to the ground where he thinks he might have a slight advantage. I think Smith's quick twitch muscles and his wrestling experience is going to stuff those takedowns and keep it a standing fight where he wants it. I think eventually Kazama is going to realize that he's not going to be able to get the fight to the ground, and he's going to get frustrated and try to create a wild brawl that Smith is going to end up knocking him out in. So for my official prediction, I'm going Smith with a knockout, probably round 1. The next fight we're going to get into is Julius Walker versus Rafael Cerqueira. Walker is sitting at a minus 620 favorite, and Cerqueira is sitting at a plus 400 underdog. I'm just going to be honest with you guys. I didn't get to break down a lot of footage for these guys. They both are really early in their UFC careers, and I went back to the regional scenes to be able to try to break down these guys. I'm not going to look at fights where their opponents on the regional scene have losing records or things like that. That's just not going to show how they're going to perform at a UFC caliber fight. So there was only one fight from Walker in the past in the regional scene where somebody who had a decent record, and Cerqueira doesn't have any. So there really wasn't much to break down here. Walker is tough, but he's a little clunky in his striking, and he's also a little clunky in his grappling too. He was out-grappled in the first round in a fight that I watched from the regional scene against a guy named Niles Bartling. Like I said, Niles was out-grappled in the first round. Second round, Walker ended up getting a submission. He kind of landed in a triangle choke, armbar type thing, and was able to get the submission. But like I said, he's a little clunky. Walker displayed his durability on the regional scene against a guy named Myron Dennis. Myron is obviously a power puncher. He was able to connect on a nice punch early on in the fight, and that rocked Walker. But Walker did recover early. He ended up getting some double underhooks, was able to get that trip. His opponent didn't really defend it that much. And then he ended up getting on the top and getting a ground and pound finish after that. But like I said, he did get caught early in that fight, but he did recover well. The best performance from either of these guys is probably when Walker fought Alonzo Menifield, where he ended up losing that fight by split decision. Menifield was 14, I think he had 14 UFC bouts going into that fight. He was 8-5-1 going into it. And Walker was making his UFC debut. So to make a debut against somebody who's already got 14 or so fights, that shows that they are looking at that guy and thinking he's eventually going to be a tough dude in the future. He ended up losing that fight by split decision, but that was definitely the best performance from either guy in their whole career so far. For my official prediction, I'm leaning towards Walker by knockout. Cerqueira in the last 2 fights has given up 2 first-round knockouts, so I'm definitely concerned about his chin holding up. He also tends to lunge in with his chin wide open in the air, and I think Walker can really smoke him and hit him hard with that. So I'm really concerned about that from Cerqueira's standpoint. These guys have only gone to decision twice in their careers total, so I don't think they're going to decision this fight. So for my official prediction, I'm going Walker by knockout. The next fight we're going to get into is Eric Anders versus Christian Leroy Duncan. Eric Anders is at a minus 560 underdog, and Christian Leroy Duncan is he's a minus 560 favorite, and Christian Leroy Duncan is a plus 370 underdog. One thing I learned when I was breaking down their footage is both these guys tend to start out quick and start to fade as the fight goes on. We saw that, it's pretty much every single fight that they have. In the beginning, they start out hot, and then as the fight goes on, they start fading a little bit. But of the 2 fighters, I think Anders is probably going to slow down sooner. I know we say this a lot in the channel, but I'm going to repeat it during this one. A big factor in this fight is who's going to be able to keep the range that they want to throw their punches in the most, or throw their offense the most. Anders is the type of guy that needs to be in more close range to land his strikes. He likes to do dirty boxing. He likes to get guys against the cage, transition to double legs, and get the fight to the ground. Whereas Duncan likes to throw a lot of spinning attacks, spinning back fists, spinning kicks, spinning heel hooks, all these things. He's throwing all these spinning heel hook. That's not even a thing. But, he's throwing all these things, but he needs space to be able to do that, right? If Anders is able to crash in and get in close range, he's going to find more success. But you also have to be mindful that Duncan is also dangerous in very close range too. He lands short elbows and uppercuts, which we saw in past fights. Who was it? Dennis Tululin, where he got the knockout. He started with a vicious 3-piece elbow or uppercut combination and transitioned to a couple short elbows, and that was it. So Anders' path to victory is definitely getting in close, but he still has to be careful. Armen Petrosyan gave us the path to victory to beat Christian Leroy Duncan, and that's to keep it a disciplined fight, keep it a fight that's just to the basics, right? You want to start with those leg kicks, pump out the jab. Anytime he tries to close the space, pump out the jab, and you definitely have to move your feet. That's going to be a big factor. If you're not moving laterally, in every single way, basically, it's going to be a big problem, because if you're standing right in front of Christian Leroy Duncan, he's definitely going to pick you apart. Both guys like to mix in takedowns and takedown attempts. When I look at Christian Leroy Duncan and his takedown attempts, he goes exclusively for body locks. When he gets in that close range, especially when he starts to get tired, he tries to get that body lock and get a trip or something like that and get the fight to the ground so he can catch his breath. If he's not able to do that, he presses the guy against the cage and he finds that moment to relax. I think for Anders, he mixes in takedowns a little better. He goes for body lock takedowns, but he also goes for leg attack takedowns. One thing I did notice with Anders, though, when he goes for leg attack takedowns, is he typically lunges in and his head is down. And I think that could be a big problem fighting a high-level striker like Duncan. If he comes in and tries to do that, I think he's going to eat a couple big uppercuts, and it could be the end of the fight. Duncan's most preferred path to victory is staying in kickboxing range. He likes to be in that kickboxing range where he can throw spinning attacks, spinning back fists, spinning kicks, just kicks in general. He likes to be at that range where he can throw all that type of stuff. But I don't see Anders letting him do that, at least early on in the fight. That could change if Anders gets tired or if he starts, if Duncan is able to get some damage on him. But Anders is a crafty fighter. I don't think he's going to let him do that early on. One thing I can easily predict in this fight is there's going to be a lot of clinch work against the cage, which could be kind of boring for us to watch. Duncan, like I said, he'll look for clinch work and look to go against the cage if he needs a break. And Anders likes to do the same thing. Anders will mix in some takedowns from it, but both guys typically go to the clinch work and go to the cage to take a break, and I can see a lot of that in this fight, unfortunately. For my official prediction, I'm going with Christian Leroy Duncan. I think he makes more improvements in between fights. He's the younger fighter, so he's able to add more stuff to his game. And with Anders, he's more at the twilight of his career. I think he said he wants to get to 20 fights and then retire from the UFC, and this is fight number 18. So he's getting to the end. He doesn't add a lot in between fights, offensively or defensively. So what you get is what you get with Anders, and he's a little more easy to break down. So for my official prediction, I'm going with Christian Leroy Duncan by decision. All right, guys, that's all I got for you today. Come back tomorrow. We're going to break down 3 more fights for the upcoming fight night this weekend. Stop by on Friday for sure to get the official parlays. If you agree with any of the picks, drop a comment below. If you disagree, let me know too. I want to start creating a community here where we start interacting with each other and brainstorm with each other and share ideas with each other. These fights are hard to predict, but the more people that are talking in the comments and sharing their opinions, the better. So I'm Vince, and I'm out of here. Thanks for watching.